Hello, beautiful souls. You are listening to Starfire, Elemental Alchemy and Zodiac Power Podcast.
where we are dedicated to transforming lives through the fusion of elemental alchemy and zodiac wisdom. Our mission is to empower individuals to harness their inner strength and cosmic alignment, creating profound shifts in energy and unlocking the true power of their astrological and elemental essence. My name is Cami, and I am one of your hosts.
And I'm Tracy, your other host. Let's get to it. Hello, Kimmy.
Hello, Miss Tracy. We are back again.
For the very final episode of this little Zodiac series. Pisces.
Pisces, the best sign of all the signs. Just kidding. Just kidding to all of those that have come before us. We have fallen in love with each and every one of these signs more and more as we have walked through these podcasts that we've been doing and these circles that we've been witnessing and being a part of. It has been such a pleasure, and how appropriate that we end in our sign, and how appropriate is it that it is in the season of Pisces. I'm so excited to be here and dive right in.
I know. I love it. I think it's just so cool that this got to be our last one. Kind of a hoorah, and a lot of reflections I feel like we'll have as well, because it all is piling on top of another, and this is a culmination.
Yeah, I had no idea. I had no idea as we started this journey that it would accumulate and continue to stack on each other as we go through the zodiac signs. And it makes them so much more sense to me now as I have been, deepening my practice and my connection to astrology, and deepening my connection to the tarot, and being able to see that the beauty in every single one of them, and the challenges in every single one of the signs and every single one of the seasons, but now being able to have this different relationship with each of the signs, with each of the planets, with each of the corresponding tarot cards. It really is this culmination within the Pisces, within the 12th house, within the moon, within the hangman, within all of this being a mutable water sign, about all the feelings and all of the expansiveness that gets to show up within Pisces. Gives me a more of an appreciation of Pisces, because so many of them, ourselves possibly included in that, have been misunderstood.
Now that we've gone through it, I feel like all the signs are misunderstood.
I do. You're right. But we
But yes, I
identify.
hear what
We're
you. Yeah.
identifying because that is quote unquote who we are, based off of our astrology. But I do think that every sign has been misunderstood, and I think that there's more of an appreciation as we deepen in our studies and connections with all things. So, what do you want to start with Pisces? Where are you at?
Where do we begin? Well, real quick, I did want to say, in looking at all of the signs and this whole journey, it really is, I thought, the same message every time. And that is, be who you are, move towards what you want in a aligned, soulful way. And with all of us, expressing our elements from these different planes of human existence, from our conscious ego mind, from our body, from our soul. We are just trying to figure out how, when that's the path we have to walk, when we have to wear those shoes, how are we going to make it back to the truth? And that's like what this whole thing is. It's like, try this on, now try this on, now try this on. Can you, at the end of the day, remember who you are? And that's the whole point, I think, of all these lives and going through the tarot and walking through all these different steps and having all the perspectives in our chart. Um, we all are here to do the same thing. We're just looking at it or walking through it in a different pair of shoes. But the message is the same. Be true to yourself. Love yourself. Choose you.
Absolutely. And I know that so many people have a hard time thinking that we can choose ourselves and not be selfish.
100%. And I thought about this in the car the other day, but I'm gonna let. Do you have more coming out with that?
Well, go right ahead because you just dropped in. So go.
I was thinking in the car the other day. You know, when you think about, I feel like I always look at ways that I hold myself down. That's how I put it.
I say cock block.
Cock block, yeah. Hold yourself down, cock block. I love it. I'm holding myself. You're holding the cock.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. She knows me all too well.
But I would look at that. These are all the different ways I hold myself down. And then if I just, I'm trying to be better. So that's that integrity, right? That's determination. That's change. That's being able to change. But really, it makes me feel shitty. So how about I just allow myself to be who I am and make the shitty choices? And that's where you go. But that would mean, aren't you going to just make the wrong choices then if you don't have anything to align yourself with? But then the thing is, when you stop judging yourself, you can finally feel what you want. And I'm losing my point now here, but that's it. I understand that idea of like, I can't let my judgment of myself go. I can't let my expectations go, because if I do, then I'm just going to be a mess. And especially for water signs, we have to have that structure to hold us. But there's so much freedom, because actually what you do is once you get out of your own way, you just have a freedom to choose. And then you are more on alignment with your higher self. You're going to choose for the better.
Most of the time,
is, unless there's a little more work to be done. But, that's the freedom of just getting off your own back.
Yeah. Yeah. I think with like, I was going to say in regards to selfishness, like there's something about as we are coming home to ourselves that we're choosing us every single time in every circumstance. Now, whether you're choosing your conscious mind, or are you choosing your unconscious mind, or are you choosing a decision that is going to be for the betterment of the good of all and harm to none, or is it for the good of me? And so that is where I think there's like the difference between being selfish and selfless. Even though you're choosing you based off of the idea of coming home to yourself,
yes,
it is not because you want to be all consumed with yourself. It is because as I have a better relationship with who I am, I show up better in the fucking world. I am now a actual contributing person to society, versus I'm showing up as someone that isn't authentic to myself and I'm just trying to conform to everybody else, which is really easy for us Pisces. We're super chameleons. We're able to conform to anybody else's ideals and ways of being, and then we're not authentic to ourselves, and then we aren't showing up for the betterment of others. We're being selfish in the way of, I'm going to just conform to how I am, how you want me to be.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Not how I want to be, and then offer from that space.
Yes, and I have seen that with myself, that codependency is, I know you want me to be this, and if I show up as that, then I'm going to get that love, I'm going to get that adoration, and I'll be that thing that you need. It's not necessarily what I want to do. It might not be necessarily what I should be doing, but it's putting your happiness outside of yourself,
yep,
into something else.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a recovering codependent, and I will consider that probably for the rest of my life. I had no idea that I was such a chameleon, and that I was allowing myself to be manipulated by any outside source, because I am so mutable. I have the ability to go with the flow. I have the ability to listen to other people's ideas and ideals and think, oh, well, that's a really great perspective. So I'm going to go ahead and identify with that, or I'm going to go ahead and adopt that as my own because I am really indecisive and I can't always make a decision for myself, but their decision seemed like it made a lot of sense. So I'm going to go ahead and go with that. And it wasn't until probably about 10 years ago that I started to come home to myself and realize that I was outsourcing everything in my entire existence and could not source from within or from source.
Right.
And now that I am way more connected to source, to spirit, to all of the things that we'll be talking about within Pisces and that energetic, I have now been able to have more discernment and understand that, oh, that idea might be fantastic, or that thing that that person is doing is fantastic, but it's not for me. I can support you, but it's not mine to take on anymore and carry in my backpack because it's not mine.
Yes. Oh, 100%. And that's made me think of years ago when I was really, going through, it's been a very spiritual path for the last 7 or 8 years. And at one point I felt myself trying to do things like I was seeing other people do, and putting that expectation on myself as focused as like, I should be doing yoga. I should do yoga, and then I should be listening to this super, beautiful kind of transcendental music because that's what this person listens to and this person does. And I was trying on all these different ways that I was seeing, oh, you seem like a cool, magical, amazing person who's very spiritual. And if this is what you do, then I need to do that. And there was a moment where I was just like, I don't want to listen to this music, and I don't want to do yoga. Like, why am I putting myself in that category? Because it's outsourcing, like you said. So definitely have felt that, and many times. And so, yes, flipping the switch on that is kind of what we were just talking about with allowing yourself to be selfish, or just kind of allowing yourself to get off your own back. Is that as I moved through that and I went, I don't have to listen to that music. I don't have to do that. But you know that you want to be active. So maybe what do you feel like you want to do then? But there's a need and you're just looking to others to bring that solution. But after I let it go and I started moving into what I loved, now, like just this morning, I had some super transcendental music going on this morning, but it was something that I came to, that I found, that I loved. And so it's funny, that's where I see this in so many different areas of my life. Once I let it go and stopped outsourcing and was connected to myself, it's amazing how we still come to the same thing because we are driven towards something in our life. That is, the carrot is put in position. And we're either going to go at it through our ego mind of how we think we should do it. We'll either rely on other people, and there's that codependency, or we'll finally just go, this is actually just, if I just let it all go and I don't have to do anything, then I can truly feel into what I want. And guess what? It's going to get me to the same place.
And that's where the magic happens. When anyone literally gets out of their mind, drops into their heart, and lets it all go. Ultimately, that is our divine source talking at that point. So if we can ultimately ever walk ourselves through a problem or and something that feels hard or there's friction, it is to get out of the mind, drop into your heart. What do you want? And be your truth seeker instead of what is anyone else's. And that's the same thing. It doesn't matter if you're a Pisces or if it's whatever sign you're in. That is ultimately, you are whatever you are. Trust and know that to be true, and not try to be someone else, and not try to fit into those other boxes. Because yes, there's gurus or whatever it is that we learn from, and teachers. And one of my values in life is forever learning, and I don't want to ever stop learning and learning from someone new. And is it, you know, going through books and looking for, you guys have these beautiful books about different places, and you know, geography and geology and theology and all of the things. Like I constantly want more information, but does that mean that I'm trying to identify with those? No, now it's just information that gets to expand on who I am and how I show up in the world, versus it being the I want to be like that person. I'm going to go and I'm going to now be a massage therapist because, you know, or I'm going to now be a chiropractor because I have been working in the industry for 21 years. Like there's this source of knowledge that I need to have, but it's not to identify with.
Yes, I've got caught up in that many times, is, you know, on a spiritual path and also a very entrepreneurial spirit. It's like, oh, if I love that, then that's what I have to do. And it's like, well, not necessarily. And we've just jumped right in. So I was just going to say that Pisces is February 19th to March 20th. And it is mutable water. So how are we expressing our emotions and our intuition? Through our soul. So we are very deep in the cosmos because we're processing everything through that soul aspect. And I think that's where you start framing. I'm looking at all of Cammie's cards, and there's words like confusion and illusion and the inability to make a choice. And I think that's where it comes from a little bit. You had some places too, but you know, it's that it's that soulful perspective which doesn't line up with the perfect natural laws of the 3D world. And then we're looking at emotions, which are super overtaking, and then intuitions, which we can't prove in the natural world. So it's a hard, you know, yeah, we're confused.
Yeah, there's a lot of escapism, I think, within this sign specific, because we don't know how to make sense of the 3D world, because in nature, in here, in all of this stuff, it is not tangible. We can't hold on to it. It isn't those things that you can't see spirit, you can't see intuition, right? Like you don't know. So for those of us that are wanting to be an entrepreneur, right, we're like, how do we do the thing? Because we can't see the thing, we can't. And we constantly are looking outside of ourselves because we're trying to make sense of it.
Yeah.
And then trying to make it be tangible. So this is where people can get really into isolation, disillusion, addiction. You know, a lot of times they're like, I don't fucking know how to be here. I don't know how to do this life on this planet. I don't feel like I belong here. I belong in the cosmos. I belong in the center of the earth. I'm somewhere else. And so to be able to come to something that is tangible, and I am going to just start to share that is how the magic of us, I'm going to speak for you as well, it comes through the tools that we have found that are here, what we are speaking on. It comes through astrology. It comes through the tarot. It comes through the zodiac. It comes through the malas that I make. There is something tangible that we can hold onto and read and feel and know that our intuition is teaching us something.
I like hearing you say that because it makes me think that's why it's so hard for Pisces, because we're never really validated in the world. That's what you were saying. You know, that's kind of what just kept saying. There's no validation. And how much air signs get validated for what they're bringing to the table and what they're doing because they're ready to play in that world. Whereas for us, like all of our magical experiences, and we learned very early on that not everybody wants to hear everything that we experience. And I can just see that, like, I felt that way my whole life. Just there's no validation in the logical 3D world for the experiences of a very spiritually in tune person, not limited to Pisces. It's just a very
Absolutely.
Piscean thing. And why we are such spiritual people and the mediums and all that, because we are running everything through the soul. We're relying on our feelings. We're relying on our intuition. And so we've honed our messaging system with that aspect of ourselves, where a lot of like the air signs a lot of times are saying, no, I can't, Gemini really wants to, and that mind just keeps saying, no, we can't validate that. Again, another sign that was really hard to validate themselves in the real world, because they have that super deep soulful battle against their mind.
Absolutely. Between the heart and the mind.
Between the heart and the mind, heart and the mind.
Constant, yeah.
And for Pisces, I think it's just us and our soul kind of up against everything else in the world.
Yeah.
We're up against everybody. Oh my God, it's so hard.
It's so hard, but it's so, they're super sensitive, and can get their feelings hurt really easily and take things on as it's their fault. A lot of times I know for myself that, if someone's mad, I have automatically decided that it was me, that I did something wrong, whether it's me or not, but that is just how I internalize that. And learning that it's not always about you. That they can be mad at any circumstance. It has nothing to do with you. Don't identify with the feelings. But us Pisces feel everything, and we will identify with that feeling no matter if it is actually towards us or against us.
Yes, we can identify with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is very, very sensitive, but also and very emotional. But that's the strength, is that there's emotions on the whole spectrum. So being emotional doesn't necessarily mean having a hanky to your eyes all the time. It also means being able to feel into other people's feelings of shyness or rejectedness or humility, like more of some of the subtler tones. That's another superpower of being so emotional, is we can pick up on all the little things. And that's where I get a lot of wisdom. And I feel very intuitive, but a lot of times I go, gosh, I think I'm just picking up on a lot of clues though, because I'm listening to the tone of your voice, and I'm looking at the way your eyes are darting, and I'm feeling your presence, and I'm looking at that little way that you just put your bag down and did something. Like, I'm seeing every little thing, and I'm tuning in to all those different nuances because I'm feeling it all.
Yeah. Yeah. That's someone that's in tune with your feelings, though, because not everybody is in tune. Again, there's a lot of distraction or addiction or isolation that can happen with a Pisces that isn't wanting to tap into their actual feelings because it's too overwhelming. I feel as if a lot of Piscean or probably even just mutable signs can get waterboarded really easily with influx of information, and then you don't know where you are and where others are. So the being able to decipher what is your emotional body feeling or what is someone else's emotional body feeling, and so it can get overwhelming for someone that has a full channel open, that is like, I don't know, I'm getting fully waterboarded by all of these different sensations and feelings, versus someone that might be able to say, that's not mine. I absolutely don't identify with that. That is your issue that you're dealing with, and I'm not taking that on.
Right.
We have this open channel, so we have to learn to hone it and to have discernment over the other people and our own feelings. What are our feelings, not everyone else's.
Right, because as we take all that on, we get overwhelmed, like you said, and when we feel overwhelmed, we have a tendency to just bow out. Yep. And so that can sometimes be a superpower, in that we know when something's not good anymore and we have the ability to walk away. So Pisceans can also be great at recovery. They are good. But also it can be that, well, this is just so overwhelming, I'm not going to go hang out with anybody, or I'm not going to feel my feelings, like you said. And so there's definitely, we'll see that in the tarot later, there's this aspect of when we get so held down and we feel restricted, whether that's by too much to take on, restricted by other people's fears and feel, what they're feeling. Now I forgot what I was going to say.
It happens.
Because I saw a light.
Shiny things.
Shiny
Squirrel.
Things. But I think I made the point.
Yes,
but yes, so we'll just give up if it gets too much.
Yeah.
And that's not the best.
We retreat. We retreat. And we do. And we've actually experienced that. And we're like, oh, well, we were being very Piscean today. Life was too much. And I am in overwhelm. And I can't talk to anybody, including myself. And so that is a lot of times our recharge place, though. And a lot of people have a hard time with that sort of isolation and recharge if they are not someone that has the deep feelings or connection to feelings. So it can be a little bit overwhelming for others that are around us when we just say we're shutting it down. Other Pisces don't typically have a problem with that because they're like, oh, I so understand. I needed to be really quiet today, and I needed to go to the water and not talk to anybody to recharge. I needed a bath so that I could recharge. Those are very Piscean aspects of being connected to the water and being quiet and being still. And as we talk about it, we're in the 12th house, which is all about spiritual, being deeply connected to the spiritual realms. And so as we have completed this whole cycle with the zodiac, is that the culmination of wisdom that we have talked about over and over and over again, we've got to this 12th house, which is now fully connected to the spiritual realms.
Which is kind of like, that's the whole point all the way. It's what everybody's trying, like every sign's like, hey, just tap into that soulful aspect, and just believe in yourself. And
we'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
And now it's like, that's the full game. That's all we're doing now.
Yep.
Can you talk a little bit about Neptune?
Sure. So Neptune is, again, rules the 12th house. It is, oh my gosh, it's King Triton.
Yeah.
Every time I see, I love The Little Mermaid. If you don't know that, also, anything that has to do with water. It is all about dreams and inspiration and aspiration and just this like whimsical space Neptune is. So when we have the support of the Neptunian influx, like there's this tuning into something completely different, completely outside of ourselves. And isn't Neptune, it's outer 7, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's on the outer 7. So again, reaching for this like very far away planet, very far away sensation. And it is where dreams are made of. It's like there's endless possibilities when you tap into Neptune, for me at least.
That feels very mutable, right? Very expansive. And on your card there, I'm looking, so it says Neptune, that Pisces is ruled by Neptune, but then it says traditional Jupiter.
Oh.
And this is interesting. So back when I was studying astroherbalism, I remember, which ties in a lot of Ayurveda. Now, I don't want to go down the Ayurveda route because that's like a whole other bag of chips, but he was saying, in the Ayurvedic wisdom, you look at your body and you have 3 different doshas. And a lot of Pisces have a lot of kapha. But I am more of like a vata pitta, the air and the fire. Whereas typically Pisceans will have a lot of earth and water. And that brings out more of the kapha body set. So keeping weight on, a little bit lighter skin, rosier cheeks, sweet voice, rounded corners of their body. And then kind of, if it was out of balance, stagnation, right? Which is, you get that stagnation with the pulling back and want to withdrawing. But I have more of that vata constitution, which is a lot more air and fire with just my body constitution and stuff. And I can definitely get into the kapha, and this might be like totally out of bounds. I know some of you are like, what are you talking about?
No, I think it's okay though, because what you're bringing in is Jupiter. What she's actually trying to say.
Let me just introduce 10 completely new concepts. But
well, we are not going to be finished after this series is complete. This is not the end of listening to Tracy and Cami.
No.
And so here you can see that we can go down lots of different different rabbit holes
Yes.
and have a lot of different things that are tying in together. That is part of our magic, I believe, is that we are able to tap into all of these different energetics and different modalities to tap into the energetics out there, which
Yeah.
is what she was talking about with Ayurvedic
Yeah.
and the different kapha or the doshas.
The different
And
doshas.
yeah, so speak on that. The Vita and the Pitta is fiery, which is then
Right.
dropping into Jupiter. And so being able to have the traditional ruler.
Well, Jupiter would be with Vata, the air.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
it's the gaseous planet. But, I think there's so many similarities because between what we all study, because these wise beings were figuring it out a long time ago, and they all figured it out just in their own ways and put it into useful tools in their own ways. And so with Ayurveda, yeah, it all adds up and is the same because they were tuning into astrology, the planets, and the elements, and it all comes back to it. So for what he had said, my teacher for that class was, you may be more of a Jupiter ruled Pisces if you have a lot more Vata in you than a Pisces who's more Neptune ruled. And basically, just so you know, the doshas are just saying what kind of elements do you have in your body. And so a Vata is that air and ether, the Pitta is fire, and the Kapha is earth. And so it's just saying what type of elements. I feel like I missed one. Air, earth, fire, and water. So water, I didn't, anyhow, it doesn't matter. I missed some of the elements. Kapha has water too.
Yeah.
But anyhow, that's how it works. That's how they kind of look at bodies, is they look at their elemental constitution. And when everything's based on the elements, that's why we get to have these sisterhood sciences.
Right. I just wanted to let you know, we have so many similarities in our charts. It's not even funny.
And we're wearing the same sweatshirt right now.
We're wearing the same sweatshirt. This is just magic. I had no idea because I wasn't looking at our charts before now, but both of our Neptunes are ruled by Sag.
Oh, interesting.
And both of our Mercuries were ruled by Aquarius. So that is really, really interesting to me to see that for you. Is that we both have that Sag energy, and so there's lots of inspiration and receptivity to all the things, but it's fiery. So it's moving outside, and Sag pointing out to that direction, and go for it.
Oh my gosh, which is why we can get on board with a lot of pretty out there topics.
Exactly. Why we can talk about aliens, why we can talk about all of the... Exactly.
Yeah, and we can go that far. That makes so much sense.
So much.
Wow.
Yeah. Because that is what we do. It is also... what about it's the I feel. The I feel or we care is another term that people will say is the I am statement for Pisces. And we do feel, and we feel deeply. And this isn't just our own internal feelings, it is the collective. We feel it on a global scale typically. Some people are more tapped into that than others, but we feel everyone's feelings, y'all. Whether you know it or not, we can tap into what you're feeling at any given moment, 99.9% of the time. Now, do we know if it is yours or ours? That is a practice that we have to sometimes spend time with. But we can feel. We're super intuitive, and it can be overwhelming at times. One thing that I'm going to just mention is that for years, I was a instant crier, super tapped into my own feelings. And I would cry at the drop of a hat, at every song that would be sang, at any movie that I was watching, commercials, whatever. And then there was a time that I realized that a lot of people use tears or crying as manipulation to get what they want. And so I saw it as a bad thing. So I turned off all of my water and said, no, thank you. I don't want to have these feelings any longer, and I am going to shut those down. And so I became harsh, and I became less compassionate. I became more controlled over my own feelings and the way that I would show up with my feelings. And once I did that, I allowed my earth and my fire to kind of squash out my water and overtake my natural state. And
how'd that work for you?
It didn't work out. It didn't work out. I gained a lot of weight.
Ooh.
I became resentful. I had really bad relationships. I was really hard on myself. I became very reclusive in my own way. I would hold myself back or cock block all the time in the fact of like, I didn't want to express any sort of feeling, because if I expressed feeling, then I was going to be the martyr, which comes up in here. And so then I'm going to be bad no matter what. So why don't I blame myself? Why don't I just go ahead and take it all in, because I don't want to hurt anybody else outside. So I'll take it all to myself and beat myself up for years. And that was not a good or healthy Pisces, and not a good or healthy way of being in the world, and not tapping into my magics and allowing that to just be. So as I have gone through the transformation of all things with Pisces, I guess, is no longer holding myself back, allowing the emotions to show up when they show up, feeling into my feelings and not blaming my feelings for being something bad. Because I did for so long. I was like, well, those are bad, or you're trying to manipulate someone into getting your way with your tears. And that wasn't true, but I was seeing that from someone else's perspective. And then I created my own reality that wasn't real.
I almost think you saw that, or maybe somebody did that to you as well.
Yeah.
Used that to manipulate you. So then you went, well, I'm not going to play that game ever again. And that makes a lot of sense. I cry all the time. Oh my gosh. I cry at everything. I was crying at K-pop Demon Hunters the other morning. It's so inspiring. Shut up. I love it. Oh my God. It's so good. But yes, I also saw the tears as a weakness for a long time too. And I always, worked so hard to hold it in, control it, don't let it out. And now I do find myself a little bit, like, even just sitting there watching a movie alongside my husband, I'd be like, don't let him know that you're crying, Even though I know that I know logically he wouldn't judge me or anything, but I see it as that weakness. Oh, I'm so weak, I'm crying. And now I wear it proudly, and I'm just like, here I go, oh my God, I love it, I'm getting into it. Or I'll make a funny joke about myself, which makes it easier on me, because I kind of allow myself to be like, yeah, you're fine. But also I know now that, like, that's what makes me so special, and I'm tuning into the emotion. I'm feeling, man, I'm alive.
I love my emotions now.
Yeah.
I have a hard time though still tapping into anger.
Oh.
And so there's something like I can get angry, and I get spiteful or very pointed and very
yeah.
I'm also a Scorpio moon, so so that's where I'm like, oh, I can see that. But so learning how to tap into anger in a healthy and more productive way, not at people, but just allowing the anger and fear and doubt and frustration all be there, and allow that emotion to populate in my body. And now, instead of just like holding it in, dancing it out, singing it out, right, doing something,
knowing how to affect your emotions.
Yeah.
And that, this is what's so powerful. I've been thinking about this on a little side note while we're having this conversation.
You're having another conversation in your brain? Like we have like 8,000 always going. It's totally fine.
Breakout rooms in my mind. But thinking about feelings. Okay. Feelings are messages. They're messengers to say, you need to change this way, pull back over here, give more over there. But we embody them. They're so powerful that we identify with them. Then we get mad for feeling it. We don't like feeling it. We look for things outside ourselves to take it away. That's where we find the addictions and all of this and the dependencies. But if you can, like, one of the biggest messages is if you can see your emotions as a message and try to pull back from them. That's where learning things to, like, use your voice, use tools, whatever it is, use your body to process and express that out of you. You can release yourself of the power of that emotion and you can find the message. And so as I look at all of these I am statements, it's almost like as a person, we come in and we try all these things out. Well, first I'm just going to try and be who I am. I'm here. Well, now I'm going to try and see what I can make and what I can learn and who's with me and what can I change and all of them. I wish I had a list in front of me, but
They're right here.
But it's like every single lesson is choose your intuitive choice. Okay, let's
It's
go over.
I am for Aries, I have for Taurus, I think for Gemini, I feel for Cancer, but that's, I mean, this is one other thingy-mabobber, I guess. I will for Leo.
Hold on, Cancer's
Yeah, I'm like,
stealing our
Cancer, you're
fire.
stealing my feelings. Leo, I will. Virgo, I work. Libra, we unite. Scorpio, we desire. Sag, we seek. Capricorn, we control. Aquarius, we know. And Pisces, we care.
Oh, we care.
So,
I
but
like
I
that.
think traditionally, I think it is, I feel, because it is such a tapped into our feelings. But Cancers also are super
Very
feelers. I think as it comes into the we statements instead of in the I am statements, that starts in the Libra. And as more collective, as we have accumulated all the things, we care as a big collective, and our feelings are bigger than just ourselves.
Or maybe it should be we feel.
We feel. I think we can change it. I think we just did.
All right, scratch that out. It's we feel. But that makes a lot of sense, and that's good because people are going to go out and they're going to see these things and go, wait, those crazy ladies told me it was something else. But you do kind of have to be a code cracker.
Yeah.
And see what everybody's putting on and why. But that makes sense how you just explained that. Yes, Cancers are very feelers, but this is another elevated expression of that. And now not just our own feeling or a person's feelings, but the collective empathy of the world.
Yeah.
Pisces, we are just amazing. Let's, what else have we not talked about?
I don't know. We've talked about the house, right? We're the 12th house of spirit. And the collective unconscious of humanity. That's
what I just
truly,
said.
I just said that.
Oh my God.
It's ruled by the moon. And
Neptune.
Oh, I mean, sorry. It's ruled by Neptune. The moon is the card for
That is a tarot card.
the tarot card.
And I feel like they're besties. I mean, I think the moon and Pisces feel very good together because we're a water sign and the moon is the water. And so that's our card in the tarot. What's our work that we've come here to do?
And the moon is about home, right?
Moon is about, well, I don't know how it reflects with your card, and because that's looking at the 4th house. So that's looking at Cancer because moon rules Cancer.
Again, that's where the feelings.
That's where it comes in. But it's not necessarily that Pisces is, or the moon card is concerned with the home. I don't think so. I mean, maybe a little bit for sure, but because we're walking through, well, let's discuss.
I kind of do feel that the moon, though, is a homey kind of card. I mean, it's about it's
feminine.
It's super feminine. It's super illuminating, like, right?
Yeah.
Like, we can either go into the expansiveness of her, or in the shadow sides of her, and that is like this breath of and that is your house and home, right? Kind of feel within yourself, not just your physical house. It's a comfort place.
Yeah, I'm kind of getting, it's the wombs. It's the feminine womb where everything can be birthed. Cancer is taking it in one aspect of the home.
Yeah.
Where we can have different aspects. Cancer is going, yes, the moon's at the top going, okay, I like that. Yes, there is something encompassing. There's a container setting. There's a, a holding space, and that the waters of the womb.
Yeah.
Okay, now we figured that out. Good work.
Yeah.
So Pisces is the moon card. It is card number 18, so it's coming right after that star, which is really cool when we kind of have, because we come right after Aquarius. What you want to say there, Kimmy?
Oh, I wanted to say with Aquarius, we forgot to mention that astrology is ruled by the 11th house. And so how interesting that was. And now here we are in the 12th house. That is the moon card, which is that 18, which is 9.
Which is 9, yes, which is the Hermit. Of course.
Of course.
Of course. And the Scorpio card, so another water sign. So similar things for all us water signs. But if we look at the card, we've got, it looks like, I mean, a very eclipse type of energy, because it's a sun, but then it looks like there's a moon face over it. Then there's another quarter moon with the, anyways, if you were looking at the card. Very eclipse-ish energy, which always adds to confusion, delusion, illusions, right? And then we've got the towers right under that, and then we have a trail at the front of the card. The trail's leading through the towers underneath the eclipse, and who's going to be traveling on the trail? But we have these two kind of almost like dogs looking animals, and I don't think they're dogs. I think more like a wolf, and I don't know.
I get yin yang.
Yin and yang, yeah.
Like they're black and white. And so it's bringing. They do look like maybe wolves.
Like, yeah, dogs, wolves. I mean, it does. Yeah. It's a like a yes. I think one. Anyhow, I don't know, because it's a little dark here, and I don't know exactly what they would say if you looked it up. But I know that it does go to the animalistic, like, behavior in man is what it's representing. But yes, I think the yin and the yang too. And if you look, we've got this crustacean, we've got like a lobster coming out of the water. What do you think that represents? Because I don't know, but I was trying to come up with something.
No, well, I mean, it feels scorpionic to me. So it feels like the depth of the moon. Like it is, again, the womb of no thing, the birther of all. And the scorpionic energy is very internalized, right? And that is like this really deepness. And that is what's coming out and being illuminated. That's what I see out of that.
Oh my gosh. Okay. This is all coming to me, because we're actually in Scorpio while we're recording this. And so we've been thinking a lot about Scorpio. And yes, Scorpio is about taking us down to the depths, right? To the truth of what we really feel and really want. And what I see here, we're also, Scorpio is taking us down to go through the dark night of the soul, but we're about to come to springtime, because right after us, we have a start of a new thing. And so I think what this card is kind of saying, I've never really seen it this way, but now bringing out the Scorpio, it's like, Scorpio's like, look, we're coming out. We're done from the depths. And now we're looking at this next, we were very much in a soulful way in the winter. Now we're coming out of the water into our mortal selves, right? Man, that's werewolf. That's man, the needs and the desires of man, and that animalistic craziness and wildness. And it's saying, look, it's time to start another journey. But it's going to be scary, because you're going to remember everything that didn't go well the last time. You're going to be fearful for a new start, and you're going to get confused, because you're not going to know if you're coming or going. That's that eclipse energy, right? Where's the light coming from? Who's shadowing who? Because we don't know if this is it a lunar eclipse? Is it a solar eclipse, right? But I see now that it's really encouraging us to get into a next wave. Start the next thing, and don't be afraid of what you've experienced before, or how you felt before, or how you feel about it. It's still necessary.
Get out of your head.
Yeah.
Get out of your head. Go into your heart, like really, and just move forward. The eclipse energy is so confusing sometimes, and it can be so illuminating and so hard to walk through. And we just finished a solar season, didn't we?
I think
yeah,
so.
I think we just had the final of the year. And but to follow the lunar sign, the lunar
Calendar.
wave and calendar, there's so much depth in just that. And so anyone that's out there, like if you're not even into astrology or not into tarot or doing all the things that we've been talking about, just following the lunar cycle can be so important. And self acknowledging, I
Oh
guess.
yes,
You know?
because especially as a woman,
Yeah.
because you're going to see those similarities for yourself
Yeah.
in what the moon's doing. So I never looked at it that way, but I love seeing that. I've never really. I know that when I do readings, I will usually see this and be like, "What are you afraid of?"
Oh,
You know,
okay.
I'll be like,
What's hidden?
what are you, yeah, what are you hesitating against because you're afraid, right? Or maybe, there's hesitation here. I'll say, oh, there's hesitation because did you do this before? And did it not work out or something? And, do we have a past in this? And usually, yeah, they do. And so I always kind of looked at it as that pre-fear, that, or like already set fear that they're bringing to the table of like, I remember the tower, I remember sudden change, it was uncomfortable, I remember being challenged, I'm afraid of the choices maybe that I made in the past, right? But it's about, having to move through, and that it's not going to happen again. And that if you learned in the towers, you learned that you actually didn't need those attachments, so we have to remind ourselves of that. But what I'm seeing now, as we just went through that whole thing, is a mighty message of encouragement too.
Yeah.
Like, it's time to get going, it's time to reinvent yourself. And when we go into the 8, 9, and 10, that 8 is very much, he's under the eclipse or some sort as well. He's walking away from his cups under another type of eclipsey looking sun and moon. And this one looks like the sun in front of the moon.
Yep.
This one looks like the moon in front of the sun. And
Ooh.
but it's
breaking the code.
We're cracking the codes. You know it. We're cracking these codes. You can't get nothing by us. But it's so interesting because that 8 is showing that's Saturn. So imagine how awful it feels when Saturn comes to town. Don't limit me. Don't try to encapsulate steam. It's not going to work. You're going to get burned. So this is such an expansive sign for them to be in a moment where Saturn comes to town. That's that overwhelming.
Yep.
I can't operate because it's so much feeling. I don't know which one is mine. It's so overwhelming. I'm not going to feel any of it. I'm going to go drink. I'm going to go do drugs. I'm going to go binge on Netflix and be in my cozy. Every Pisces knows they're cozy, right? Yeah. Their comfort zone. That blanket, that pair of socks, that show, that whatever it is, we retreat to that hermit. But it's good, right? Because in a way, right? It's our process. It's either a complete shutting down and walking away, or it's an elevating out of. So they're both possible to us, and I've done both.
Same.
So it is a great card. It depends on where you're at. Sometimes it's a deferment, but sometimes it's an enlightenment.
Yeah, I think it's an overwhelm, and you get to do whatever it is on the other side. So when a lot of times you get an overwhelm, you have collapse on the other side. Now, is your collapse an intentional collapse? Or is your collapse oh my God, I need to retreat and go and do drugs and drink and completely escape all of the feelings that are happening? Or am I going to just rest and restore and actually be intentional with this overwhelm? Where am I being overwhelmed? What are the things that are causing me to have this like insatiable feeling of wanting to escape or run away? And is it just that I'm tired and I didn't sleep really well? And now I need to take that time to rest, or I've been doing too much. And this is where abundance can be too much at times, and abundance for so many people is like
it can be overwhelming.
It can be overwhelming. I mean, we've talked about it. It's like, I have a lot of things going on in my life in this real time right now. I am very abundant, and that has been an overwhelming hardship for me. But I don't want it to be a hardship because I'm expanding at the same time. So it's now, okay, you're no longer, your cup is overflowing and you need a bigger vessel now. because your cup needs to be bigger because you're holding
Yes,
more.
that's such a great way of putting it.
So instead of trying to keep it in that smaller cup, it's I need to rest and restore to be able to build that cup just a little bit bigger or have a bigger vessel that then I can expand into this new way of being and this new holding of new energy that is not going to be overwhelming. I know that I have the resources to go into the Virgo side of me if I need to, but I am retreating and holding this new way of being.
Which is moving right into the Nine of Cups.
Look at us.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
Because that's amazing. Good job, Kimmy. Because that's then Jupiter comes to town. So first it's a holding down and showing boundaries and showing limitations and facing realities. But like you said, I love that if sometimes it is overwhelming and sometimes it's goodness that we have to think about the cup, and sometimes it's also knowing when to stop stop filling the cup. Sometimes the cup has to be bigger. Sometimes we need to throw the cup away. And that can become into the undecisiveness sometimes. They also don't know when to get out the door. But that's the part. If we can either elevate out of it or accommodate for it, we get to go into the expansiveness of Jupiter, which is expansiveness of your heart. This is like falling in love. This is love at first sight. This is a brand new friendship. This is a brand new skill you just saw. This is just a brand new idea. This is, so expansive and big, and it feels amazing. And I think all Pisces know that feeling of just being like, ooh, look at that. Ooh, oh my goodness, I'm so excited. I'm so excited because we can see so many possibilities. And we are that free-flowing, mutable water, and so we can get on board with so many different possibilities.
Which is why we get excited about everything.
And can't make a choice.
And can't make a choice.
I want all of them. Look at the card is like the Nine of Cups is like a guy sitting and there's a table behind him with all 9 cups and he's just like, la 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 la. I'm so happy.
I don't know which one I want to choose or all of them.
I have all these cups.
I love it so much. And then you're 10.
And then we have 10, and that is Mars. So then, and this is a beautiful one because there's a rainbow and all the cups are in the rainbow, and there's a man and a woman with their arms around each other and their other arms extending out like, ta-da, we did it. And there's 2 kids playing, and it's like they're home. There's a coming home about it. And so that's Mars, fulfillment and new beginning, emotional strength. And isn't that perfect for the 10 of Cups? That's the last card of what all the things we've moved through all year long. What's the last message?
Wow.
Culmination, completion, gratitude, sociableness. You did it. You made it. That scorpion is coming out of the water now, and it's time to go back on your trail. It's time to go back. It's time to get into another round.
Wow. That I see them dancing. I see it's like this to me. This seems like at the end of a play or the end of a musical. It's like everybody's been dancing and we're singing and we're just so elated to have expressed ourselves in our truest of forms, and we're saying thank you to the universe. We're saying thank you to everyone that came before us. We're saying we're in deep gratitude, and we're playing. I mean, Jupiter is here and Mars. Like we are now celebrating this just beautiful end of the cycle, and then going into the new beginnings with Aries again.
Exactly. And Mars, if we think about this, we just kind of break it down. Mars is the warrior, and it's about fighting for what you believe in. Okay. So if you're going to fight for what you believe in, and then you come to Pisces house, who is all about we care, remember, is all about the collective empathy and the feeling, then it's going to be sticking up and fighting for those that you love. Right? For the happiness of everyone. And that's what we see in this card is everyone standing on a rainbow being happy because Mars came to town, and Mars will never let that go. Right? Mars will fight for it. So we have a little, gatekeeper on our happiness in a way is how we feel in this moment of Mars being in town, where it's just like, wow, we did it. We fought for good, and the good won. Love won over everything. That's the energy of this card. Whereas I kind of look at the flow, like the 9 is very new. So, for instance, if someone was asking about a relationship and I got that card, I would be like, oh, is it very new? That wouldn't tell me if that's going to be a long lasting relationship, but I'll tell you it's going to be a great fun fling.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
If I saw the 10, I would be like, oof, there's a lot here. It's worth fighting for this.
Yeah.
It's worth being here, and other cards would be a part of it too, but it's very much that first wave of love at first sight, and then actually looking at the depth of that, and a culmination, the completion, fulfilled times, and being with each other. I think it's really, there's an element of being together.
Which is one of the things that you and I love, is being together and being in community and
Absolutely.
gathering people together to have conversations about things that matter to us. And this is one of them. We started our circles because of this. We decided that we want to be in community and have conversation about something bigger, something outside of us. What can we how can we affect others with how we are in our inner world and expand out into the outer world? And that is absolutely this card. Like, I didn't even think about that being like the final card.
Me neither. And I never felt so encouraged with these cards as far as a new round and a new beginning, and kind of a calling in for that wave of hope and that bravery to start again.
Gosh, I'm gonna cry.
Oh.
No, because I like, it feels so full circle. In the very beginning, when we started this, like, I had such an adverse feeling about Aries, and how there's so many people in my life that I had a hard time with Aries, because they are the initiators. They're going to start things. But really, like, we are the end of that, and putting that action into place, calling it in to then be able to allow Aries to take that and take that flight. And now it's like, oh, I am like co-creating with Aries on a regular basis.
Yeah, and knowing that I have more to learn.
I have more to learn every fucking time. Like, instead of being like annoyed by them taking the action that we have just released, we have literally just said, here you go. We have something new to offer to you. And now Aries are like, okay, I'll take the reins now.
Yeah.
And what a beautiful way of having a relationship with all of the signs as we've just completed the circle.
And we always say, what are we here to do? To walk each other home.
Yeah.
And that is definitely a vision of the idea of one end of a cycle, which, as above, so below. Big circles, little circles, I like to say.
Yeah.
That's what we're going for. Fighting for each other. Sticking up for each other through the way that we feel, which is our biggest messaging system. It's where you find what is for me in this moment. You are not your emotions. And if anybody could know that, that's the Piscean way, is to understand that our past, looking at the moon card, our past does not define us. Our feelings do not define us. The things that we wanted at one time does not define us. And we are not limited by those attachments, because those attachments will come and let go of time and time again. That is our way. The Pisces way is to walk away and to let go. But I also, just real quick, I think a lot of times I see myself like, I'm always ready to like revamp my life. I'm always ready to like rework the system. And that's such an 8 of Cups, right?
Yeah.
Like, we need to walk away. We need to change this. We need to do differently.
Yeah. I get comfortable, and then I will stay somewhere longer than I should, because I'm comfortable, and I will adapt to others. And I will choose a lot of times my own uncomfortability.
So that could be walking away from good things in these cups.
Yeah.
as
Which
well.
is which is where I have done a lot of in my life, and I didn't realize the magic that was coming towards me or at me, and taking those opportunities and saying, oh, I can actually do something with this, versus it being like, oh, no, that's too good, I don't need that, I'm going to go ahead and walk away from that because I can't accept that offer of a new job or that offer of something else. Oh no, I'm so comfortable where I'm living or where I'm staying, I don't want to move. And so that is, again, that's where my feet can stay planted where they aren't necessarily supposed to be sometimes. So allowing my feet to be the fins,
Right.
and actually allow them to move me away from something that might feel really comfortable and go into the unknown.
Because that's that Saturn. You have to draw a line,
Yeah.
and you're either gonna go towards it or not. And if you're feeling that Saturn is keeping you in a comfortable place,
Time to expand.
You're not. Yeah.
Time to go to Jupiter.
Time to go to Jupiter. And we never read, so we need to finish by reading what Stephen Forrest put down about Pisces, the fishes. Our archetypes are the mystic, the dreamer, the poet, and the face dancer. I can see that. I cannot hold anything in.
No.
Yeah.
We are not good liars. We are not good poker players.
Nope. So their little quote is from Juan Mattis. Don Juan Mattis. We are luminous beings. We are perceivers. We are an awareness. We are not objects. We have no solidity. We are boundless. Yeah, that feels just like us. So he says about the symbol, ocean, not fishes, but the home of fish. Home. Mother Ocean, the realm. I got chills. The realm of undersea sierras, of luminous plankton, of lost cities. Ooh.
I am a mermaid.
Oh my God.
I knew it.
Ocean, mother of life, brooding symbol of all that is impenetrable, all that can be felt, but never known. Like we were saying in the beginning, never validated because... Ocean. Wait, okay. So there's so much. I feel like I've read so much. I've only read like 3 sentences. Ocean. Washing the shores of continents, carrying art and thoughts among the nations, carrying war, carrying disease and pestilence, carrying wine and food, poets and musicians, endlessly mixing and blending the cultures of earth. The Piscean Ocean, liquid, flowing symbol of the unutterable mystery that binds us all together, the symbol of life. I told you we were the best.
I told you.
Told you. Stephen Forrest agrees. That was beautiful.
I do have tears in my eyes, and I am getting emotional over this. One of my best friends lives in New Zealand, and I was creating a mala for her the last time that we got to see each other at the ocean in Monterey. And as I was creating the mala, the messages that I kept getting were that we are going to always stay connected. We're tethered. Like I have this absolute tether to our umbilical cords. We've felt it our whole lives, but our messages go through the water, and we listen to one another through the water from New Zealand to here. And I'm on the coast, in the Pacific Northwest, and when I think about that, of like the messages that get carried through vibration of water, is there's so much available to us. And when we surrender to listen and get quiet, Spirit fully talks. So anyone and everyone has the accessibility to that within water. Just this purest of things.
Yes. Well, and with water being oxygen and hydrogen, and hydrogen being like the key to life.
Yeah,
it makes a lot of sense. And you know me, I love the idea of water having memory, and yes, structuring that water with those intentions, and It's beautiful. And that I'm surprised, reading this book, I've never really read up about myself because I'm always, yeah, I know enough. But that was beautiful, and I think it really is a culmination in a way. It's not, again, we're not being serious when we say it's the best. It's putting all the pieces together. And what is the lesson? To just fully feel and feel collectively and to fight for each other, right?
And to not get lost in ourselves or in, like Neptune, Pisces, spirit, mutable, water, moon, all of these things.
It's
these
confusing out here.
There's so much confusion, and we can get lost in that and lose ourselves in all of it. So knowing when you're in, like, yes, I say that it is the best sign, but again, it isn't necessarily. I think all signs have such superpowers.
Yes.
And I think all signs, I have fallen deeper and deeper in love with all of the parts of myself by learning about all of these things. I just absolutely realize where my superpower lies in my feelings, in my connection to spirit, in my connection to something unseen, that I have an ability automatically to tap into things that other people don't have. And instead of thinking that I'm better than anyone, it's no, I just have this ability to tap in, and everyone can have that too if they just tap into those parts of themselves. And so I feel like what we've just done with this culmination of everything is allowing people to see that you have the ability within yourself to tap into whatever it is that you want to, and bring that forward, and to trust. Again, we're in the Scorpio season right now, and trusting is a massive word for us in the season. I just tattooed it on my body. I just tattooed it on my body.
Trust that's truth right there, man. That's ink. It's permanent ink.
It's permanent ink. Trust and expand, which is right here.
Yep. It's the Piscean way. I love it.
Yeah,
I wanted to bring one more thing. I remember being young, and they had these funny zodiac cards, and it was like 3 sentences, and it would say something really good, and then it would say something like middle of the ground, and then it would insult you. And for the Pisces, I always laugh because the last line was, "And you like to pick your nose."
And you do.
And I love it. So I had to ask, do you like to pick your nose? How do you feel about picking your nose? You have 2 nose rings. I could never.
I do have 2 nose rings. I am not definitely don't love picking my nose. However, I have found that I actually really enjoy putting a Q-tip up there and cleaning my nose.
Oh my God, that sounds like the worst in the world. Isn't that so funny? And you have those long nails, which I love, but I couldn't ever do it because I wouldn't be able to pick my nose. And that would be torture. And then to have to stick a Q-tip up there.
Okay, next time I want you to try though.
No! Of all the places.
I just feel so satisfied with a Q-tip because
Really?
I can't get, I mean, I can.
Because of your long nails.
I have long nails, but long nails could scrape me.
Yes.
So I don't want to pick my nose with long nails because then I'm going to bleed inside there. So it's satisfying with a Q-tip. And actually, the ones that I use are the ones for the dogs, the dog ear ones. So they're longer and they're a little bit different. So not just a regular Q-tip.
I'm glad I brought this. Up.
But it is so satisfying
Feels good in the nose.
when I don't have any boogers left in my nose.
I like a clean schnoz.
Yep.
Okay, I like clean teeth.
Yep.
Clean nose. I'm constantly like cleaning out my teeth and making sure that everything is.
Yeah, I think that there's some pickiness in that. So,
okay.
Well, thank you guys so much for listening to this Zodiac series of podcasting. And for those that have been following along, this is a culmination of it all. And I would really suggest you start from the beginning if you didn't start. You know, a lot of people will start with their sign because they're like, I want to know more about my sign.
Who doesn't?
Who doesn't? But I think that if you could actually go back and start in the beginning. This will just be a nice little bow at the end. And I had no idea that that was what was going to come forward today.
Me neither.
We don't prep for these like at all, except for pulling of the cards and kind of having a little bit of an idea, but we allow to go with the flow. That is our nature. This isn't the end of listening to Tracy and Cami. We are just beginning, actually. I feel like this just gave us that Aries action step to take the action to what the next iteration is going to be for us.
The next iteration.
Iteration, using that word again.
I don't think I used it right. Because I didn't know what it really meant.
But I am just so grateful that we listened to the call, to put this on paper, to make the plan, to line it all up, to bring it to fruition, to the circles that we have. And I'm just really grateful for our time that we've been able to make.
And I feel like that's what we experienced when we decided to do this. We were both very scared. Well, no, I don't want to say we're very scared. We both had our own blocks. Yes. No, we were not scared, but definitely blocks. And we were that moon, right? And it took being together, 10 of Cups.
And moon.
Yep, we're the two dogs. To get it started and to be that encouragement for each other of let's start this thing, and then going through the whole process of it and coming back now once again in this Piscean energy. We go, let's start something new. Now let's go begin again on a new adventure. We have more to talk about with astrology and all the different ways that it plays into life. And so I really see that's really what we just went through.
We're doing the spiral up. So yeah, I can't wait to see what the next, we have no idea what's on the next horizon. Like we just got poured on right now, you guys.
The water is bringing the rebirth, man.
Yeah. Like literally, we just have a massive storm that has decided to come in and pour down on us. So how beautiful is that, with the water just saying, thank you for listening. Thank you for doing the things that... the ocean. Let life live. Yeah.
Lovely.
All right. Until next time, y'all.
Until next time.